learning about the Civil War and why it was like a fight between siblings. The real definition of a civil war is a war between citizens of the same country. And in this case, it was in America against the North and South. The two main reasons they went into war was slavery and the South thinking they had the right to succeed. Throughout the years before the war, they tried to make compromises. But keep watching. I will explain more about that later. First we will go back to the mid-1800s and talk about geographical differences between the North and South. Both sides' geography was alike in some ways, but also different. First, we will be talking about the North. The North had many mountains and fast-running rivers. Most of the land was very rocky and did not have much open land, but it did have many forests and woody places. Most people in the North traveled by boats and canals, railroads, or horses. Since the climate is warm, humid summers and cold, snowy winters, farming would not work in this area, so the North was filled with cities and big towns. Now let's talk about the South. The South had a lot of farmland and some rivers. This is very ideal for farming. The cash crop, or crop that sells the most, is cotton. The South only had a few cities and many towns. This was because the population was way less than the North. The next subject we will be talking about is slavery. Slavery was one of the causes of the Civil War. It is one of the most studied topics. It was referred to as the particular institution. Slaves that escaped the South and went to the North formed the 54th Massachusetts Regiment. The 54th Massachusetts Regiment was the first African-American Union War unit. Slavery was considered unconstitutional and a sin in the North. This is why slavery was banned in the North. While the South probably knew that slavery was mean and unfair to the slaves, but it made up too much of the economy. It had to be kept, and when the North declared the Emancipation Proclamation, the war reached its boiling point. Before the Civil War, the North and South tried to compromise. The first compromise was the Missouri Compromise of 1820. They were compromising because of land. The second one is the Compromise of 1850, and just like before, this was because of land. The third compromise was the Dred Scott case. Finally was secession, which sadly ended in the Civil War. The North and South could not compromise because the North didn't want the South to succeed. They were like a sibling fight because they were in the same country, which is like the same family. Also, they went back and forth fighting and not agreeing. Battles were very deadly in the Civil War. Just like a sibling fight, wars between families or the same country can be very intense. Many battles took place during the Civil War. Some of the more famous battles were the Battle of Gettysburg and the First Battle of Bull Run, the Second Battle of Bull Run, and Fort Sumter. The Battle of Gettysburg was the deadliest battle. 51,000 people died, and 28,000 from the South, and 23,000 from the North. Believe it or not, this battle was only 3 days in 1863. The North won in the Battle of Gettysburg. At the First Battle of Bull Run, 4,878 people died. It was in 1861. The Confederates won this battle. At the Second Battle of Bull Run, the Confederates won again, this time in 1862. 11,300 people died, much higher than the first battle. You most likely want to hear a person's point of view from the war. This is the North point of view.
Hello, I was a soldier in the Civil War, and I think the war was pointless. I don't understand why the North could not just agree and get rid of slaves. If farmers really wanted to help grow crops, then they should have hired people instead of using slaves. We should have just got along with the South. I just wish we could have got along with the South, but could have listened to us, but luckily we won.
Now that you have heard the North point of view, now let's listen to the South.
Hi, I'm from the South and fought in the war. Why couldn't we just keep our slaves? It really didn't affect them, and and also they already had way more money than us. We only wanted the slaves to help on the farms. I think the North had no right to say we couldn't secede either. We could have won the war if we had more railroads, money, and soldiers.
Now that you know a little about what happened before and during the war, we are going to talk about what happened after the war. First, all the slaves were now illegal and would not be able to be purchased. Also, the South started reconstructing their states, since this war caused a lot of damage. This meant the citizens of the South tried to rebuild buildings and homes. The North also was glad about their victory and happy the war was over. After the war, people were inventing many other things. Furthermore, the North and South didn't have other wars, and that is what made the U.S. like this today. The Civil War made the U.S. a better country today in many ways. One reason is there is no slavery. If there was slaves, the North and South would still be fighting and there would be even more civil wars. Another reason is the South didn't secede. This is good because now the South is friends with the North so that they can be one big country. If the South seceded, there would be their own country, and America would have less population. Also, the North and South may have more wars. Now you know a little about the Civil War and how it was like a fight between siblings. Also, you know about slavery and secession. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you understand the Civil War. In conclusion, the Civil War was a war between the North and South in the mid-1800s. Thank you.